And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities Podcast. My name is Jay, and this is Gerald, and we're coming to you live. Today, we are talking about the market updates, and it is heating up out there. Craziness going on in the used car market. We're going to tell you what's really going on, not the stuff that the news is telling you. Are you ready to do this, Gerald?
Sure.
Let's go.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
Welcome back to the Auto Authorities Podcast. I'm Jay. This is Gerald coming to you live, and we are talking about market updates. It is heating up out there. There's all kinds of craziness with the UAW strikes, the used cars, the new cars. We're going to just sort all this out for you, not the stuff that you are hearing on the news. We're going to tell you the real reality. But before we do that, I want to thank our sponsors, iAutoAgent.com. At iAutoAgent, where the I stands for integrity. They have two separate divisions. One division where they act as real estate agents for cars. They help individuals sell their vehicles, market, list, and show the vehicles at no cost, so you don't have to go meet strange people, you don't have to go to the dealer, and you don't have to do it yourself. And they help you buy vehicles nationwide with the Vehicle Finder program. Simply go to iAutoAgent.com. They will find your vehicle for you. They will deal with the dealer. They will make sure you have the best deal, and you get to pick up the vehicle when you approve the deal. And then finally, you have the commercial division where they act as strategic partners for commercial companies with fleets. And they take care of the buying of the vehicles, finding those really, really hard to find vehicle fleets, the selling of them for maximum profit, and also, of course, those tedious tasks like maintenance and DMV renewals, and they allow the business owner to focus on their business. And Gerald, tell us a little bit about wrestling with sales.
Sure. Hey, as we're getting close now, you're getting into the holiday season, right? Well, on Wrestling with Sales, we talked with an interesting guest, and you can see it on the air on the Fired Up Sports Network as well. But I was joined by Michael Kingston. He just spent a week at the New York Comic Convention. He has a series of graphic novels called Headlocked that are written by some of the top pro wrestlers in the world right now. It's a really neat product that you can search Headlocked Tales from the Road on the social medias. Look at Michael Kingston. One of the current ones is written by Trinity. She is the current Impact Women's Champion, used to be in the WWE. It's a musical-themed pro wrestling graphic novel. You see her cover there, kind of based on the musical Chicago. He also had a chance to work with Adam Cole and Switchblade Jay White. So it's a pretty neat story about how he's making it go, using Kickstarter to self-fund it, and all the work that goes into creating that graphic novel, because it's interesting to talk about the work that goes into being successful, and why not talk about something that's kind of fun and interesting. You can search it up on dealershiprescue.net or on YouTube as well, and watch it on the Fired Up Sports Network. Plus, you can see our show on the Shop Plus network. So just go to those free streaming apps, the Samsung Plus, the TCL Plus, and you can find the channels right there. Kind of neat. Yeah. Just another way to reach out.
It's awesome. Yeah, we're on TV, folks, the Shop Plus network. But the main thing that you want to do is go to YouTube right now and go to the Auto Authorities and click subscribe and click the notifications button. We are worldwide. We are getting a ton of views. We're bringing it to you live every single week, and it's raw and uncut. This is not like all these other podcasts that they have all these little editing. No, this is raw and uncut, and that's who we are. And if you want to watch us live, you can watch us live at 12 p.m. Tuesday on the Facebook group page called the Auto Authorities. You just click the join group button and you can go on LinkedIn and watch us live. And then finally, if you want to watch us on 19 different channels, you can just go to the autoauthorities.com. You can watch us or listen to us on iTunes, Google Podcast, Pandora, you name it. And you can even send us a wonderful message or a question that you may have. And we want to hear your comments too as we go through this, because we're going to hit these market updates pretty hard right now. And some of the stuff might be surprising. What are you seeing out there? Let's start with the used cars, Gerald.
Well, the biggest thing is it continues. It's just a massive shortage of anything under $15,000. And this is fueled largely by that lack of inventory from the COVID period. I mean, just simple math. There was over 8 million less cars produced than would have been produced under normal circumstances since the COVID shutdowns. And that has had a dramatic effect on the number of used cars available.
Yeah.
And remember, Jay, it used to be 15,000. That's what everybody was looking to spend on a used car. And it was okay because over half of the used cars sold in the country were under 15,000. So you could easily do it. Now, that's the percentage of used cars that are sold as of this year for under 15,000 in the country. 2. It went from 50 to 2. So almost a 98% drop in the amount of used cars available for under 15,000, which obviously contributed greatly to the average used car price now being something like $27,000. And when you calculate that in at an average used car APR of almost 10%, you get to a used car payment that's knocking on the door $600 a month. When reality is every customer that comes in asking for a used car payment, they want to be, and this hasn't changed since 1999, I want to be between $250 to $350. Okay, well, that car doesn't exist. It's not out there. And they're not coming. So all these different trends that you hear about factor together to create that shortage. The average car on the road now is almost 14 years old. Almost 14 years old.
People can't afford, and that's the other thing too. And not only is there a shortage of vehicles under 15 grand, but what people want for under 15 grand and the mileage and the year,
not what they're going to get.
It's not what they're going to get. If you want under $15,000, you're going to have over 100,000 mile, vehicle for the most part. And it's probably going to be 6 to 7 years old or more.
Oh, it'll be older than that.
Yeah.
I think the average car you can find for under 15,000 is going to be right on the edge of being able to be financed.
Oh, yeah. Right? That's the other issue.
Yeah. If the car's older than a 2012, good luck getting it financed.
Right.
Maybe the brand that made that car. If you're at a dealership, if you're at a Honda dealership, you're at a Chevy, you're at a Toyota, maybe their captive financing arm, Toyota, Honda, GM Financial, they may do it. But very few, if any, banks are going to finance a 12-year-old car now.
Yep.
So essentially, those cars that are available for under 15,000, they're cash.
Right.
Of course, the people that are looking to buy cars for under 15,000, they're not looking to pay cash. They're looking to finance it. So you're seeing a real huge disconnect in the market right now.
Here's the crazy thing too. I'm looking at a statistic. We subscribe to a lot of different statistical references, and from an 8/19 of this year, the average list price on a used car in our region was $29,441. In less than a month, about a month, $29,748. But just those numbers are the average for a used car. That's insane.
Yeah, almost double what it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And
also in that same time, the days on the market is 65.6, which means it's taking an average of 65.6 days for those dealers to sell these cars, which is telling us very simply the people want lower priced
Yeah, they're
cars.
too expensive.
Yeah.
Because, and just so you know, as a customer, hey, one thing that can actually legitimately help you in negotiating, because I think it's coming back now. Most of your national corporate owned dealerships, their used car departments are on something called a 90-day hard turn, maybe a 120-day hard turn. What that means is that dealership needs to sell that used car within 90 or 120 days, either to a customer or by auction. Or the dealership, that local dealership, has to write down, lower the value of the car to current market numbers and take that depreciation as a loss. So they're really motivated to sell those cars. When you go look at a used car, if you know what one you're looking at, get the Carfax. It's on their website. See what day the car was listed as available for sale and count the days up from there. If they've had it for less than 30 days, they're going to be confident asking for all the money on the car. If they've had it for over 45 days, they're probably pretty willing to deal on it.
Mm-hmm.
If they've had it for over 60 days, they want that car gone. And if it's going to hit 90 days by the end of the calendar month, you can offer virtually anything within reason, and you're probably going to be a buyer. So that is the single most important number for you to look at when you're negotiating a used car: the days on the lot. Suggested retail value almost doesn't matter, because to that dealership, that thing is sitting there as a lost time bomb and they want it gone.
Yeah.
So if you get anywhere close to what they own it for, you buy that car.
Yeah, that's what we do in our vehicle finder program is we can handle all that for you. We always look at days on the market. We look at really you can't look at like so a lot of people like look at Kelly Blue Book and all this crap and they just look at what the market is. Look at what dealers are asking for these vehicles. Don't look at Kelly Blue Book. Don't look at those types of things because it's not going to be as accurate as actually seeing what the dealers are asking for the cars now. And if there is a big disparity where the dealer's asking a lot more than the other, there's probably a reason for that. They probably bought it like a while ago and they probably bought it for too much money and the things dropped and they're still trying to get their money.
Sure.
And gives you an opportunity to come in. But, some dealers are, let's just say that they're closed-minded when it comes to, so they just are, they want to sell it for that number and they're not willing to deal sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's some locally owned, family owned dealerships. They'll keep the used cars for years. They don't care because they'll figure we'll sell it eventually. We own them anyway, so who cares? At some point they'll sell. Which,
Right.
which hey, if the auto strike goes another 6 months, yeah, you're right, you win. And
Mhm.
they're probably feeling pretty confident with that decision because going into COVID and coming out of the last couple of years, they won with that logic. Because those are the dealerships that when everybody else had 10, 15 used cars on the ground, those guys still had 100. So they were winning.
Yep.
So they're not changing their mind anytime too soon because they just had their strategy pay off for them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of the auto strike, that is affecting a lot of things now, but what really is going to happen is the longer it goes, you're going to see some craziness. I don't know. What do you think? I'm going to make a prediction that if it continues to go, we're going to see incentives being pulled on like the big three, Chevy, Ford, and Dodge, because they know that they don't have to do that because they're not producing the cars and people want to buy them. They'll pull the incentives. What do you think?
Well, that's just going to be a matter of time. There are a few vehicles that are already getting really tight. The Chevy Colorado, the GMC Canyon, they're not available right now. That
Mm,
factory's been idled since the beginning of the strike. They're made right by you actually in Wentzville. So those have been down for a while. There's other ones that are going to start coming in. One of the two factories that produces the F-150 was just shut down recently. And more importantly, Ford's CEO said, "Hey, we're done. Jim Farley, you guys got our last offer. We're done." So that'll be interesting to see if that last offer is good enough and if it really is the last offer, because it seems to be that both sides are really kind of dug in, and I can understand where the UAW is digging in because they want to have part of the EV wave that's coming, and they can read the same things we do. Making an EV vehicle requires way less people. And once those batteries are mass produced, those cars are going to be way, way, way less expensive to make.
Yep.
So it doesn't bode well for a union that represents a mass amount of workers manufacturing cars. You're going to see a change in the job mix.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of why they're dug in so hard right now, because I mean they're flat saying no, and they're accelerating the strike with offers that include a 21% raise over a 3-year period, cutting that two-tiered work system that currently takes 8 years to get to the top pay down to 3 years. So I mean the manufacturers have given a really competitive offer that in years past I think would be a yes. But right now they're digging in because they see the future coming with the EV vehicles and how that's going to limit the number of jobs available.
That's a good point.
And they're looking at it in a way that the writers and the actors did, where the writers and the actors were looking at technology. They're looking at computerization of script editing. They're looking at scanning in extras and saying, well, hey, that's going to eliminate jobs. So we need to get in here now and cut this off before it ends our negotiating. And I think that's why you see the actors are still out.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I mean, I think that everybody
they're
sees the
looking
writing on the
forward.
wall.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. The EVs, they're really going to be down in price a lot, and right now they're expensive. But like you said, as they perfect these batteries, there's less parts that go into these EVs, and the way that the government is too, they're going to not force people into EVs. They're not going to necessarily do that but they're going to put unbelievable incentives that people are going to have a hard time saying no.
Yeah, well, one big thing that changed too, and we had our friend Bob Kluge on from Enterprise Accounting
Mm-hmm.
talking about the EV tax incentives and how it was a Goldilocks incentive and nobody got it. Well, that changed
Mm-hmm.
effective January 1st. So if you are looking to buy a domestically owned EV, domestically produced EV, wait till January. A horrible decision to buy it before January. January 1st, you'll be able to assign that $7,500 EV credit to the dealership and get it as a rebate on your deal immediately, as opposed to for the vast majority of Americans getting nothing or getting a small fraction of the 7,500. So effective January 1st, it becomes a real $7,500 incentive that you get. Whereas up until that point, it's a tax rebate that you only get if you make under $200,000
Yeah.
and you owe over $7,500 in federal taxes,
Mm-hmm.
which, as you can imagine, is a very, very, very small number of people, because the math says if you make under $200,000, it's virtually impossible to owe $8,000 in taxes.
Yep.
So huge
Absolutely.
difference. That's going to accelerate the sales a lot.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy ride watching this EV, and these workers are trying to secure themselves a future, and it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. For all of you that are listening, we'd love to hear some of your comments and questions. Go on the Auto Authorities on our YouTube page. Leave comments and questions. We'll answer all of them for you. And Gerald, anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, just one other thing, because I want to get your opinion. Don't you think we're getting we're getting close to the breaking point where you're seeing a lack of affordable used cars because the new cars are being squeezed to only the most expensive of the trim levels. So people are keeping their affordable used cars and not trading them in, which is making used cars super expensive. If you look at auction runs and you want to buy, Chevy Malibus, Toyota Corollas, Honda Civics, Hyundai Elantras, they're not out there.
Mm-mm.
The rental car companies that used to sell them by the dozens. When I was at a major domestic dealership as the used car director, I could buy 100 program cars a month, every
Mhm.
month.
Right.
You can't do that. I'd have to cover the country to try to buy 100 of them right now.
Yep.
Do you think that we're getting to the point where the pendulum's going to have to swing back? Because I got to think there's only so many people that are out there to buy $60,000 cars. And I think the consumers are showing it because the average age of an American car is going to hit 14 years now. Those cars are so old, banks won't even loan on them.
Yeah. It's a good question. I think that I think we're going to start seeing more incentives. I really do, because they have to. They have to. I don't know who's going to hold out longer, the manufacturers or the people that have their cars right now. But I think as soon as they start seeing incentives again, it's going to drive people back into the market. And
But
I just think the incentives have to come.
what incentive do you put on a $60,000 car to get it down to the $400 a month payment
You're
that
not
people
going
are
to
telling
be.
Grady they want to get?
That will never happen. But they're gonna have special financing. They're gonna have 1.9. They may go down to 0%. They're gonna have these things that give people these teasing. Now, granted, they're never gonna have those low rates again, but it. I think just like anything that people are going to they're going to have to get used to paying more money. We've gotten used to paying more money for lots of things, even just eating at restaurants.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
going to happen, and that's what I predict is that we're going to start seeing incentives again. You're starting to see them now, but with this UAW strike, depending on how long ago, I don't know. There's so many I don't knows right now. This could be another pandemic potential that happens if they keep going and they don't produce cars. Um, it's crazy. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's what we got. Well, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Yeah.